Well, guess what? You don't need more customers. You need more value from the customers you already have. Hey, we're Nate and Simone. We talk all things marketing. Today, we're going to talk about how to get more long term value from the customers you already have rather than spending a lot of time going out and getting new customers. What about creating loyalty in the customers you already have? They say that having what your best client is a client you already have, right? So
Oh
we're going to
yeah.
talk about that today. So our theme is about how most businesses focus on getting more leads, but what's where the real money comes in is from increasing the value of every customer that's already in your pipeline. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Feel free to subscribe to this channel so that you get notified whenever we come on. It's every Tuesday around noon Eastern. And and also, if this is valuable to you, put your comments in the comment box and let us know so that we know what topics you want to hear. Hey, Nick.
Hey, 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 hey. Back again for another amazing episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So, um, most business owners, founders like to chase lead volume, right? The
Mhm.
idea is I need more leads, I need more leads. Especially like home services businesses. This is like what they're constantly thinking,
Mm.
which, I can understand because a lot of that is project based. But how much more could they make? How much could they be making? How could they smooth out that revenue roller coaster if they had monthly recurring revenue coming from from their clients that they already are keep in touch with, for example. So the
Or if
winners,
they were to upsell
yeah,
uh, clients on,
oh yeah,
maybe a lot of your clients came in on the base value or the core product that you offer. But
yep,
what if you were to go back to them and offer maybe the next step in their process or the offer a solution to the next problem that they have?
yep. And that's going to involve training your staff on the key things to look out for, the kinds of yeah, I mean, turning them into little mini salesmen to some extent. But
Exactly.
we'll that's one piece at a time here. So the idea here is that the winners in this case are the ones who are maximizing the value of their customers that they currently have. They're decreasing their effort and going out and finding new customers. They're decreasing their cost of acquiring new customers as well. So it's
Right.
just there's so many wins here. It's not even funny.
Uh,
Um,
higher long-term value means higher margins, higher profit margins, higher
yes.
stability, and higher business valuation.
Boom.
When it comes time to retire or sell the business or pass it on, you're passing on a business that has more value because the customers are more sticky. They stick around
Exactly.
longer.
Exactly. And they go with the business, right?
Yeah.
Um, so to tie it into our V3 here, visibility, we're attracting better, higher value customers with clear positioning. Um, Part of that viability piece is we're improving retention of the customers and operational consistency, therefore, which increases the value of the customers that we have over time, decreases our costs and our operational inefficiencies, right? Because we already are familiar with the customers that we have, they are familiar with us. It's a less of a cognitive load, trying to retrain
Oh,
everybody and onboard people and all this. But that does not mean that we get rid of those onboarding systems, by the way. But anyway, um, and our value, right? We're building a business that with strong LTV, lifetime value. Doing so, having a business like that is like you said, far more sellable, scalable, and predictable. The things we love to hear,
yeah,
right? Okay,
absolutely.
so LTV, what does that mean actually? Um, literally we're just referring to sometimes it's abbreviated as CLTV, right? Because or CTV actually, I've seen
Customer
that too.
lifetime value. Yeah.
Yeah. Customer lifetime value. That is essentially what it is. And the idea here is that, and a lot of people, a lot of business owners aren't tracking this. This is not something they really take into consideration. And I'll bet if you asked 10 business owners what their LTV or the LTV of their customers is, that nine of them wouldn't be able to tell you. Um, and not knowing this, however, can be costly to the business, right? It could be costing them margin, and stability, at the very least. Because how much does it cost? Here's another thing that they probably aren't tracking. Many businesses aren't tracking. How much is it costing you to acquire a new customer? Compare that to the value you get out of each customer that you currently have and are able to maximize, and you're going to see a very big, stark difference, I think, once you run the math out. Um, and let's see here.
Well, the question is, why don't they track these numbers? Why is there fear there? Is there just lack of knowledge, just not knowing that these numbers are important? Um, yeah,
Yeah.
why don't founders track these numbers?
Because it's not something that appears in your bookkeeping, frankly. I think that's probably one of the things. Like it's not something that maybe this is an opportunity for someone to build something like this, but to my knowledge, there's nothing like, but I don't think this appears in QuickBooks, right? For
Which is
sure.
crazy. You know where it does appear? I do see
Where's
it
that?
in Stripe. So if you're using Stripe
Oh,
as your
okay.
payment gateway, it is in
There you go.
there.
How many people are actually looking at the dashboard of Stripe, though? It's usually connected
Yeah,
to something else, right?
probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give you, our listeners out there, the actual formula for lifetime value. Uh, Sometimes it's abbreviated CLV, CLTV, LTV. There's at least three different varieties here, right? But they're all basically the same thing. So
You want to show it
here's the
on a
basic.
whiteboard or something for
Let's see here.
visual sake.
Well, I can show you what I'm looking at, which is just a Google search. Um, let's see here. I don't have
Uh,
a handy dandy thing here. Hold on a second.
is the formula simple or is it
Well,
complicated and you
there's a
need a
couple of
math
different.
degree to understand it?
No, there's a couple of different things here. There's a basic formula here.
Mm-hmm.
CLV, average purchase value, times the average purchase frequency, times the average customer lifespan. So it's all averages, right? So you have
Yeah,
something somewhere has to be tracking this, hopefully. If you have like a e-com, you're going to be able to get this information relatively easily from that,
yeah.
whatever you're using, hopefully, whatever software you're using there. Purchase frequency, but it's like nothing actually brings this all together for you. You kind of have to figure this out on your own,
Hmm.
except for
I
apparently,
see an
like I said,
opportunity.
yeah, yeah. So that's the basic formula. This is a simplified formula: average customer value times average customer lifespan. So, and here's an example. Say a company has an average sale of $50 per item, right? Customers buy three times per year, and they stay for an average of 2 years. So that would be $50, which is the average purchase value, times three, which is the number of purchases, the average purchase frequency, right? Times the customer lifespan, so 2 years, which is $300.
That's
So
$300.
each customer that you acquire is worth $300 in that case, on average, right? So question is, how much did it cost you to acquire that customer?
Right.
Okay. If it costs $150 to acquire that customer, then you've doubled that's your ROI, right? On
Hmm.
whatever input it took to get that customer. Um, and so this is what you need to take into account when you're thinking about things like how much do I budget for my marketing, right? Well, you're going to have to work backwards. What is your goal? What is your target revenue? What are you trying to hit? And then how on earth am I going to get there? That's the next question, right?
Right.
So these are the things you need to ask yourself, and then work your way backwards. So if you want to hit $100,000, let's say, um, you have to figure out what is your average purchase value for each item or service that you're selling, how many times your customers are buying that from you, and then how long they stick around. Um, and that is going to tell you the value, right, of a customer. And then you need to figure out also then how much you're going to spend to acquire that customer. And it needs to be less, right?
Mhm.
Ideally. Um, and so that's going to help you figure that out. In the case of like, let's say, for example, home services, like so I already talked about that, like a kitchen bathroom modeler. They're selling stuff like a full kitchen starts at like 45 grand, right?
So, and the thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So,
And so, um, but it tends to be in home services, especially that it's project based. So it's like one and done. But that one customer is worth, $45,000 in revenue potentially. Um, so if your target is to hit $100,000, right? So how many of those 45,000s do I need in that case? Which would be, you know, basically two, right? um, but hopefully your your target's going to be higher than that. But anyway, um, that's kind of how this works out in terms of like helping you start to shape your planning and the direction that you're going to go. Um, okay, so um, if you're like, and then kind of one of the things to keep in mind here is if your LTV, your customer lifetime value, is greater, excuse me, is less than the cost it takes to acquire that customer, that there's a problem there, right? And when you're calculating the cost, you need to take into account how much your time is worth, how much time you're spending on acquiring that customer, in addition to whatever you're spending as far as like the marketing to acquire them and that kind of thing, whatever uh, mechanism is involved there. And
what's interesting is that I think a lot of people, um, depending on your type of business, but there are a lot of businesses out there, especially solopreneurs, coaches, and network marketing people. They think that, oh, well, I'm not spending anything on marketing, but you actually are. If you are spending money on association fees, to be part of a networking group like BNI. It takes you a couple of hours a week to drive, be there in the meeting, drive back home. How much is that time worth to you? You spent gas, you spent,
gas is
there's
high.
depreciation on your car.
Yeah.
There is, you might be going to lunches or breakfasts, and you're spending money on that food. So yeah, you may not be spending money, say, on Meta advertising, but you
Yeah.
are spending money to market.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about, like keeping track of all of those metrics and
Yeah.
saying, okay, what am I actually spending to acquire a new customer? Because all of those need to be taken into account. How much is your time worth? How much, say you're a therapist, um, and you charge $350 an hour for your time. If it takes you 2 hours a week, that's $700 that you're spending, and you get one client per week, uh, added to your roster. Well, how if that client only stays for a week, well, then that your ROI is gone. But or is in the negative. But if that client stays with you for a year, well, then there's good ROI there.
Yeah. One of the examples I think that we talked about in another video was the example of a Starbucks customer. What is the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer? And depending on where you read and what you look at, it's between like 14 grand to like 25 grand um, per
Coffee,
customer.
people, coffee.
This is why Starbucks is Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you know, they might
It's
be a
also why
perfect example.
yeah, some of these companies are so willing to spend money, say, to do a Super Bowl commercial, because
Yeah,
for that 30-second spot, they're spending a couple of $1 million on a 30-second spot. But if they get customers from those TV spots and that customer stays with them for a long time, well, then and then they're putting their commercial in front of an attentive audience of
mhm.
millions of people that are all focused on this one event, this one area. And so if
They
you
know
get
it.
several you could get several thousand new customers
Yeah,
from that one 30-second spot.
yeah, you can. I mean, they have numbers on precise viewership, right?
Mhm.
For this, they can tell you exactly how many within like a few thousand, probably, how many people are going to be watching. And so the companies can do the math on that and say, well, okay, $5 million to be exposed to, 50 million people or something like that.
Right.
Not to mention if the whole thing about Super Bowl commercials, right? If they're funny
Yeah,
and memorable, people continue to talk about them for weeks,
that's
months
right.
afterwards,
That's right. They do.
and it's just a compounding effect, right?
That's right. They do.
It's a no-brainer in
Um,
that case.
and I bet, well, the teams that play, or I don't know how, well, the teams that play, that's all a tournament, right? And so it ends up being okay. The ones who won their tournaments in their respective conferences end up at the Super Bowl. But
Mhm.
then I wonder how much thought they also put into who is going to be playing or performing during the halftime show, because that's also going to determine people's attention and whether they're, oh, well, I don't want to see this artist, so I'm
Yeah.
going to take a break now. I'm going to, you know, there's a half hour for the halftime show. Oh, I can watch a sitcom in that time
Right. Right.
or something else, right?
Yep.
Um,
Or I
or
can go
whether those
on
people are going to
Twitter
be
and
paying
flame
attention.
them.
Yeah, or you can go on Twitter and start, uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, so the more attentive people are, the more the millions of dollars that you spent on that Super Bowl ad actually becomes worth it.
Yeah.
Huh.
So basically, thinking in terms of LTV, a customer who pays you $1,000 could easily become one who pays you $3,000 to $5,000 if you have the right systems in place, right? And if you have your offers multiple figured out, right? You should definitely have multiple levels to your offer, right? You should have that
Absolutely.
entry point, maybe like the midpoint and then the high ticket level, right?
Right.
At least, you know.
Because,
Um,
yeah, you may be going after a particular avatar, a particular ideal client, but that doesn't mean that uh, they all want to start at the bottom.
right,
They might want to start in the middle, or they might want to jump straight to your
right.
high ticket offer.
And ideally, that's why you need to have at least three because psychologically, you want more people to pick the one in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of like why you put two different priced items next to each other on a shelf, right? And then like people will pick the one in the middle usually. It's the
Yeah.
same psychology. It works in multiple different places, not just retail, but
Yeah.
so thinking about this, thinking about LTV can and should change your pricing structure your positioning in the market and get you thinking about ways that you can optimize your customer experience because all of this is going to be crucial. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty here. This is part one of our system here, right? That we're remember this is we're introducing a three-part system to double your customer lifetime value. Okay,
All
here
right.
we
So
go.
part one.
Part one, the easiest lever to pull in this case is to increase how much each customer buys per transaction.
Mhm.
Okay, so increase how much each customer buys per transaction. If you sell multiple items if you have a e-com, right, you want to increase that basket size per transaction. That's one way of thinking about it. Um,
And that's why when there's all this candy and magazines and
yeah,
mints and different
impulse
things in the
items.
aisle, yeah, the
Yeah,
impulse items in the aisles as you're checking out. And it's funny because I bet the longer that you wait in line, and I don't know if they've done studies on this, but I bet
ooh.
that the longer that you wait in line, the more of those items end up on the conveyor belt.
So your line waiting time is on purpose, right? This is a strategy that the company has come to increase their basket size. So think about
Well, you
that.
know what? And in that case, then they should probably get rid of those self-checkout lines because with the self-checkout lines, you're not waiting in line necessarily.
That's
Um,
true. That's
and
true.
you're doing the work yourself, so you're not
Yeah.
standing there looking at all the chocolate and the candy and the different things
They
and
still
the
have them there though. Yeah, they still have
they
it
have
there.
them, but
Yeah.
I do you really pay attention to them if you're not just waiting
Probably not
around
as much.
waiting
Probably
for the
not as
person in
much.
front of you to finish?
Yeah. I'd be curious to see the numbers on that. How much
Yeah,
that
I would
actually
too.
impacts. But okay.
I would too. But
Um,
yeah, those impulse buys, they increase your basket size and increase
yeah.
the total order amount that
Yeah.
you walk
So
away with.
in this case, tying it back into the V3 system, right? We're talking
Hmm.
about creating value in the business, right? This is where you're looking at the packaging of the item that you're selling. If you
Yeah,
have a retail item, it can be a packaging for a service as well, right? Maybe you're
sure.
bundling the service with something else, right? Consulting with a CRM, for example. Um, Clarity, right? Making sure that you're being clear about what it is that you're offering and what the benefits are to the client by working with you so that they can kind of stack you up against the competition, right? And having that structure around the offer, making sure that again, you're being explicit about it, communicating it effectively and at the right time. I think that's the key too. But
Yeah.
so upselling, like we talked about that. Impulse items is an example of an upsell. If you have an e-com and somebody is buying something, you can have the upsell be, well, why not buy two more, and give them as gifts, right? For example, that's kind of a common one I see.
Yeah.
Um, Bundling, right? If you like this, then you might like this. Amazon does this; they're notorious for it,
I do that a lot.
right?
Yeah. It's great to have that data where you can kind of see where
Yeah,
um and you can tell your people who are ready to check out, oh well, before you leave, the people who buy the item that you're getting also buy this to go right
right.
along with it, so
Yep,
there's a lot of cross-selling there as well.
yep. And we talked about tiered structure, so having a bottom level, middle level, and a higher level is a good way to increase those transaction sizes. If they start in at the bottom level, right, you can move them up to the higher tiers as they go along, right? And then that becomes an upsell opportunity for you and increasing the LTV that way.
So
And um, so one of the questions here is why do so many business owners underprice their items or their services?
I think it's fear.
Yeah,
And I also think too that a lot of especially new business owners, new founders, they tend to they tend to look at, I guess, customers in their own situations, not having a lot of money, um, being having to do everything on their own, not having a lot of resources to have access to, and so they feel like, okay, well, I can't uh, I can't price it too high. My customers won't be able to afford it,
Yeah.
and they don't think about there's other people there who might be their ideal client who
Yeah.
can afford it. But since having never lived in that world, it's harder for them to think
Yeah.
in those terms.
Yeah. And they're not really thinking, I think, in terms of like the benefit that you're providing to the customer, how you're improving their life, right?
That's
If you're
true.
able, if you're able to
Oh,
save someone time, for example, that's one of the
yeah,
things that people will happily part their money for, right? So the
that's
question
true.
is, how do your customers value their time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So,
sometimes we think about, well, it only took me 5 minutes to do that. So, I can only charge a couple of dollars.
but you're
But
bringing an entire, how much experience to that
yeah,
effort,
years of
right?
experience to that, right? There's
That's
a quote I heard this story about a man who went to go and he was called to a factory. They've been
hmm
trying to fix this problem for, you know, hours, days, weeks. I don't know how long they've been trying to fix a problem. It
yeah.
stopped work. The owner is desperate. So he calls the
hmm
guy in and says, okay, you're the expert. Please help us with this problem. The guy goes straight to it, tweaks a couple of things. It took him 5 minutes. And he said, okay, great. That'll be $10,000, please. And, and the owner says, wait a minute, but it only took you 5 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
Why are you charging me $10,000?
Yeah.
And the expert says, well, it took me 15 years to learn how to do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the owner
It
happily
only
paid.
costs, I'm only charging you $1 for the 5 minutes that it took me here, but I'm charging you, 9,999 for the 15 years it took me to get to
The
that point to
15
know
years it
exactly where
took
to
me
hit
to
it.
learn it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, all right.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So another question here is, in this case, upsell. This is kind of like increasing that transaction size. Another term for that is upselling. And this is like, I've heard somebody said this, like upselling. I hate marketers because of that, right? Like this is like irks and ire with people. But
Yeah,
you
if you're
know,
if you're looking at it the wrong way, then yeah, it can feel slimy and
yeah,
sleazy and
yeah.
um but if you're looking
How
at
do
it
we
the
keep
right way,
that from happening? Yeah.
yeah, if you're looking at it the right way, then it becomes actually a good thing because you're not don't look at it as oh, I'm just trying to get more money out of you. But
hmm
what if what I'm really trying to do is to help you solve the problem that you're having in a better way with more value, on a more continuous basis because you're going to need continual help. Um, that's it's not just it's what I'm doing is helping you to solve a bigger problem. Then maybe you came to me with thinking that, okay, once I solve this problem, I'm okay, this initial problem. But then as I'm solving this initial problem, I uncover the next problem or I uncover a bigger problem. Well,
Yeah.
then now I'm going to offer you a solution to the bigger problem or the ongoing problem or the next problem that you have once this initial problem is solved. Um,
Yeah.
and it's better to do that with a person that you've already purchased from, who you already know, like, and trust. Why
hmm
go to somebody new when you can stay with the vendor, the marketer,
Yeah.
the business owner you will already have built a relationship with? They already know you. They don't have to start from scratch,
Yeah.
trying to, figure out what to do next to help you.
Yeah.
So,
There's
yeah.
there's there's also like maybe they weren't ready, right, at the time. So that's you're showing them that you understand where their position and where they're at so completely that you know that you don't need to push this other thing on them yet, right? Because they're not ready for it yet. And so when they do become ready for that and it becomes obvious, at that point, then it's like, okay, well, I do have this that can help solve, help you continue along this path that you're on, right? Like, oh my gosh, thank you. That's exactly what I need. Why not? Perfect.
Yeah. You're actually helping them by upselling.
Yeah. Yeah. So think about it like that. All right. So the next step, part two, um, retention, keeping those customers around longer is cheaper and more profitable than acquiring new customers, right?
Cheaper to
And
keep her.
exactly, exactly. Um, and so the trick here is how can we get more customers to how can we get customers to buy more often from us without being salesy? That's the crux in this case.
Oh,
So one of these ways is you have follow-up systems in place. You're keeping in touch with your current customers on a regular basis, right? Um, and you're constantly asking them, hey, what's going on in your business? Is there anything I can help you with? Things like that. Lo and behold, you might be surprised, but oh, you know what? There is this thing. And then all of a sudden, you have something else that you can help them out with. Recurring services is another key here. Having those monthly subscriptions is a good idea. MRR, as they say, ARR. MRR is the
it's
kind of the holy
monthly.
grail. Um,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps to smooth out your own revenue roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is that you're providing a service valuable enough that people feel, and you've thought through the pricing, right? So that
Hmm.
it's not too much of a impact on them. And, if ideally you've packaged this correctly in such a way that they feel that the value that they're getting out of it is, surpasses whatever monthly price that they're paying.
The money that they're paying for it, right? They value what you're offering them more than the money that they're paying
Yeah.
out to get that service.
One
And
one
I
of the
feel like with monthly recurring offers,
yeah,
I find it helps in both ways. It helps the business owner to have the revenue and the resources that is necessary to actually provide great service to their book of customers. And the more that the customers are paying in that monthly fees or monthly subscription amount, then it keeps the founder, the business owner of that business, gives them the resources that they need to help them. So, they can be sure that when they need services, they're there. They've got them,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
One of my favorite examples of this is a HVAC company here local to me who has a monthly maintenance fee that they charge, and they have different tiers and different prices, right? So if you're at the
Mhm.
gold tier, you're paying the most per month, but that guarantees you uh, somebody will drop what they're doing and come to you if you call.
Mhm.
And then the other tiers have different levels of that scenario, right? It also gets you like one free, HVAC system flushing and maintenance per year and that kind of thing. So it's just like one of those things. You're at the top of the list, when it comes to like the spring when it's time to clean things out and get the AC going, right?
Mhm.
You're at the top of the list for your AC service and repair in that case, whereas everybody else has to kind of wait their turn, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's a great idea.
I think
Fantastic
so too.
way for the company to have predictability in their income month to month, right? Because something
Right.
like that, HVAC, plumbing, home services can be project based,
Be very
and it tends to
seasonal and
be
project
more
based. Yeah,
feast or famine, right? Unfortunately, in that case.
right.
So that's a great way to kind of smooth that out. I,
Absolutely. And you can kind of guarantee that your HVAC company isn't, losing employees at a crucial
Yeah.
time when you might need them.
Yep.
And then having to hire people back when it's back to feast time. They
Yeah.
can they
Yeah.
can be
Exactly.
more stable and keep
Smooths it
people.
out for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. So the idea here is you're building viability in the business, right? You're having those systems that bring your customers back predictably helps to strengthen your own operations and reduces your cost per sale. And not to mention the peace of mind that it brings, right? But that's also contributing to the value of the company as well. So keep that in mind. Um,
Absolutely.
because I mean, who wouldn't want a business like that, right? Okay. Part three. Um, we're going to talk about how do we extend the customer lifespan, right? The time that they spend with us. So the idea here is the longer a client stays with you, the more profitable they become. Huh? So how do we build that long-term relationships and ongoing value? Probably the best first most important thing is that you have orchestrated their customer experience with you from the time they first talk to you to when they're actually a paying customer. And then you have onboarded them. You have a scripted, predictable, repeatable system built around onboarding them. You'd be really surprised how far that goes. I was talking to one of my clients actually recently, and they're engaged with another company for a CRM service. And the CRM company has an onboarding specialist, and they have a implementation specialist. But it's like the one says that the other has to do the thing, and then and vice versa, and it's like nobody gets it done. It's bizarre to
Oh,
me.
that's terrible.
Yeah, and the actual solution that they were looking for, which was how do we get the information filled out on our website into the CRM,
Hmm.
the solution that was given to them by the onboarding specialist, and they showed me like the emails, and it's like you have to do this complicated thing with the AI, or with the API and like all this. And I'm like, there's a simple Zapier connection. That's all you got to do, you know. And
Oh,
I went and looked at it. It took me 5 minutes to figure that out. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and
I feel
apparently
like you
this has
should
been going
call
on
up
for
that
months.
CRM
So,
company and get them on as a client because they need
yeah,
some help.
yikes. Seriously,
Wow.
they need some work. But anyway, so don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, And having a way to kind of promote your client success, I think is key, and celebrating that success is key as well, to help getting them to stick around for longer. I think I've talked about this before, but I just came across a service called Thanks, THNKS.com, which I love because you can just send stuff randomly whenever you feel like it, to say thanks to people. And so, I'm sending out stuff for the holidays for clients and that kind of thing, just to say, hey,
Oh,
thanks for
that's
being a client.
wonderful.
Thanks for sticking around, Here's coffee
Yeah.
on me for the week, for example.
Oh,
Um,
that's
it
cool.
doesn't have to be anything like super, involved or expensive
Extravagance or
necessarily.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can just
It
be
just shows
simple.
that you're thinking about them, and that
I
often
know.
that is who else is doing that? It's probably not many. And it depends on
Mm,
the industry, right? But um, and then again, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like checking in. Hey, how you doing? Anything I can help you with? Simone, you've talked about how you have an automated, how's it going email that goes out to
yeah.
your
I do that
people.
in my long-term nurture sequence. It's just
Yeah,
part of the sequence every so often. It checks
yeah,
in.
it
Hey, how you
works.
doing? What's going on? And it does work. It does work. It engages people. It also keeps I think it keeps my emails going into the inbox as well because
Yeah,
I'm giving people a reason to reply to my email. Because most of the
yeah,
emails that I send are, me talking to them about, hey, go watch this video, or did you know this, that, or the other thing? I'm giving them a business tip or something. But if I also send them something that gives them a reason to reply to me, um, that helps my deliverability with Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, whoever. But then, it also helps to reply back. So I reply back and we have a little conversation, and it keeps me in touch with the pulse of my audience, like what's going on with them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's great to
Beautiful.
do that
Perfect.
in a proactive way.
So we're working on building long-term relationships, right? And doing so, it just is going to be like a no-brainer for them to tell their people about you, like, hey, work with this person over here because they're really great. They're constantly asking me how I'm doing. They're constantly, they ask me about my kids and et
Mhm.
cetera. And like we have great conversations and like they're just such a pleasure to work with, I mean, that that will absolutely get you more business, no doubt.
Yeah.
And it keeps them around longer, right? That's the key. You want to increase
Yes.
that lifetime value of the customer. Now, is this necessarily like, is this like an ulterior motive for being nice? You could look at it that way, I guess. But
Can be. It can feel like maybe it's an ulterior motive, but I mean, the longer the longer they stick around and they're working with you and buying from you, the more you can actually help them.
well, it's like, why are you nice to anybody? In that case, you know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to get along. They want people to come back and continue to talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's no more ulterior motive than you just being a
It's
nice, good person
smiling at
within
a
society.
stranger as you're
Yeah,
walking down the sidewalk
yeah.
and saying, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning." You know.
Everybody has the reasons for doing that, motivations, right? And
Oh,
mainly they just want to get along. They don't want to push people away, right? They want people to come
right.
around. So anyway,
But
it
here's
works
another
out.
thing too that just came to me. If
Yeah,
you feel like you're the best person
yeah,
or your company is the best to offer your particular service or your particular product, then having that likability is key and crucial because you want
yeah,
you want your customers to get the best. Why would you want them
yeah.
to not
Right.
like you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and go to
You're
somebody who's selling something substandard or
yep.
going to treat them badly, or you know
You're looking out for them. You're looking out for them.
you're looking
Yep.
out for your customers. And I remember having a coach a few years ago, and one of the first things she said to us was, "Love your clients.
Mm, boom. Nice.
Love your clients."
Yeah. I like that.
And as a Christian, those are the two main commandments:
Hmm.
love God, and love others as you love yourself. Love your clients.
Mm,
If you love them, you're going to treat them well.
indeed. Indeed.
And having that likability is part of treating them well. It's
Hmm.
your one of the things they said about like marketing these days is that um creating community even among your clients
Yeah.
and among your customers. Um Giving them a place to come where it feels like home, like
Hmm.
they have friends, it's people to hang out with. And so if you're
They can
building up
compare
that
notes on their
likability.
experience with you. In that
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, and then they could throw rocks at the people that they don't like, right?
Yeah.
um yeah, so yeah, having that is it's part of that um you're creating a space for them to not only for you to provide services for them, but for them to feel welcome and feel at home.
Hmm. I like it. So just to recap, um, three-part system. Number one, increase your transaction size. Okay. Pretty simple, right? Increase the purchase frequency and extend the overall customer lifespan. And all of a sudden, you're going to have an increased average customer lifetime value. And remember the key here, so many people out there, so many business owners are running around thinking that they need to get more leads, when in reality, they just need to optimize what they already have. There's no better customer than the one you currently have, so as we said at the
Right.
top there. So keep that in mind. Take the growth ceiling assessment. Join, well, subscribe to the podcast, obviously. share, share, subscribe. I'm doing your job now, so Simone. I'm doing
Well,
terrible
what
at
Nate said, like, share, and subscribe. And
it.
also, if you learned something today, put your biggest takeaway in the comments. And, thank you for watching today, and we'll see you next time.